What's going on, guys? Smash Adams here, and today I'm going to do an update on my Zing deck. Now, I made a lot of changes since the past couple of months since I last put my first Zing deck profile up, and I've got to say, over the course of time, the changes were well worth it, especially adding the pendulum monsters in to make it more accessible to special summoning more synchro monsters, since you basically can only summon Zing and Zerfa monsters because Zefraxi and Zefraniu say so. So, I'm going to show you the deck and explain the tech choices that I've made over the course of time. And without further ado, I hope you all enjoy this little deck profile of Zings. To start off, we've got, of course, the three Zefraxis. Basically, they treat your Zing monsters, except for him, as a tuner. So, say if you didn't have one to go off of, he's basically your out to getting a synchro play on board. Like, say if you had a Suanni and you had no tuners to back up, you can always use him as a plan to just go straight into using Suanni as a tuner monster, sorry. But yes, this guy is well worth using. He's too good not to keep out of the deck. I tried one at first, but then I realized that bumping it up to 3 over the past couple of months made it well worth it. Because now, especially with pendulum monsters being a thing now, especially with these guys at Zefraniu being really useful in Zings and in Zerfas, try it. That's all I got to say. Like, if you have some monsters to go off of in your hand and in the pendulum zone, try it. Because you're going to be summoning synchro monsters for days, especially with these guys out. Next, we've got 3 Zefraniu. Basically, he's your searcher for Zing path or creation or any other Zing spell or trap. But in your case, since you run the basic lineup, which is the beaters and the tuners, just to go off your synchro plays, you're basically going to get Zing path or creation. But the downside is, in order for it to work, he would have to be pendulum summoned or destroyed in order to use it. So, yeah, it's not really bad, but his defense stats are pretty good. So he's pretty good to sit on if you just want to stall for more summons and all. So that way you can get your synchro plays ready to go in the next turn. Now, for the rest of the lineup, we've got, just got to stack these up together, my bad. We got 3 Suanni. He's one of my favorites, mainly because he's a beat stick, and because when you synchro summon, he basically gives that monster an extra 300 point boost. So say if I wanted to go for a first turn Goyo Guardian, all I have to do is get rid of him, get rid of a Jiaotu, and then some. Or if I want to go for Metaphys Horus, do the same thing, and Metaphys Horus becomes a 26 beater. Next we've got 3 Buy-in. He's your basic out to having your monsters being destroyed by battle, even though we know there's one synchro monster in the deck that's impervious to battle and to destruction. Beelze. Anyway, but yeah, the only downside is you need a synchro tuner in order to use it. But anyway, on to buy-in. Yes, the stats are not good as far as the attack points go because he's 1600, but he can help you in the long run, depending on what you summon as far as the whole synchro deck goes. Next we've got the defenders, which are 3 Bixi. Basically, when he's used as synchro material, your monster's unaffected by traps. And plus, he gives you extra leverage if you're going up against Mermills, if you use Cheofeng. So if you wanted to use him and some other cards that equal up to 9, that's good. So if you're going up against water decks, yeah, water effects won't work. Next, we've got the tuners. Jiaotu. Like I mentioned earlier, he's probably one of the best tuners to go for next to Chiwen. But in this case, and also, his other effect, when you get him on, he has to be alone though in order to do it. You can get rid of 2 Zing cards. Not just Zing monsters, but Zing cards. So if you have a Zing path or anything like that in your hand that's not even worth using at the moment, you can dump those 2 and then special summon and you can special summon 2 Zing monsters from your deck. Any you choose. You can choose Taotie, Bixi, Suanni, any of them. Even the Pendulum monsters from your deck. But this card is by far one of the best tuners in the deck, next to Chiwen. Speaking of Chiwen, I run 3. Don't run less than this, because he can help you a lot, especially if you want to go for Cheofeng or Baxia or any other Synchro monster outside of Yangzing's. It's worth the play, trust me. And plus, you can get any Yangzing monster in any position you choose. So if you wanted an out to something, and if you wanted a really heavy defender, like if you couldn't get any beat stick on board because you're afraid of it getting baited out by Bottomless or whatever, you can always use him. Get a Jiaotu or a Bixi or a Zefraniu and just sit on it and then solve for time. But keep in mind, your best bet would be to just get out as many as possible. If you have Yangzing Creation, this can help you as well. Next, we've got 1 Pulao. I took the other 2 out to add some MSTs and some other tech choices that I'm running in the deck so far. But overall, running 1 actually does help. If I do get the opportunity to change stuff around, I may add 2 more in. We'll see. And finally, for the monster lineup, 1 Taotie. Yes, you don't want to draw into this as much, but he's pretty useful if you want to prevent your monsters from being 101, big-eyed and such. But he does come in handy, especially from the deck, when Yangzing is destroyed. So, yeah. Taotie, definitely worth it. Downside is, yes, because of his stats and all, it's going to be tough for him to summon. If he's in your hand sitting there, yeah, that's going to be tough on your part. But the bright side is, because Chiaotsu's there, you can send him to the grave along with another Yangzing and then activate his effect and special summon 2 Yangzings from there. And if you have a Yangzing path, you can send the Taotie and possibly the Pulao into the deck along with another Yangzing monster, shuffle, draw 2. So it can help in a lot of cases where you just have a dead draw with this card. So that's it for the monsters. Now onto the spells. Of course, 3-path, your basic Avarice for the deck. The only difference is, besides Avarice, since you would put 5 cards in the deck, you're putting 3 cards into the deck to draw 2. But the downside is, with Path, you can only use it once during that turn, so it sucks, but hey, it's worth it to get the draw in. 3 MSTs. I took the supply squads out and a couple of other things just to add space for some other stuff, and I figured, why not just add 3 MSTs, just because back row is still a problem now. If I do get a chance, I may add Raigeki in there, even though a lot of people say it's not recommended. We'll see. 2 Dark Hole. Like I said, I took the Raigeki out because I wanted to add some space. And 1 Soul Charge. Basically to get your Yangzings back, do more synchro plays from there, and then some. It can be a lifesaver depending on how you play it. And plus, if you wanted to get a Baxia back and just do some more stuff from there, and if you had a Yangzing Creation as well, this can really, really help you. But yes, Soul Charge, definitely a keeper. Try it. That's it for the spells. Now for the traps. The best trap in the deck, Yangzing Creation. And if you have 3 of these, you're set for life. This card basically says, hell yeah, you're going to be getting a lot of summons on board. And you're going to be safe and sound with synchro plays going off. Because once your Yangzing monster dies via synchro or via effect or via pendulum monster, guess what? You get a free Yangzing. So any of them that are destroyed, yeah, you're not only going to be going off of those effects, but this will count as a Yangzing monster effect as well. So you're going to be spamming for days if you have a bunch of those on board. At the most, people usually get 2 off, or like if I'm not mistaken, the second turn. But if you get triple of those, and if you have like a Chiwen and stuff like that sitting on board, but if you have a Chiwen, that's basically it. You're basically set for life, because Chiwen, you can special summon that thing in defense position and just not even care. But it's a good card. For the rest, we've got 1 Skill Drain, 1 Compulse, 1 Bottomless, 1 Solemn Warning, and 1 Torrential, because it's pretty explosive with this deck. Now on to the Synchros, because that's what the deck consists of. 2 Baxia. I could run 3, but I wanted to add space for others. And 2 Yazi. 1 will come out for a Trishula when I get one. Yes, I know it's reprinted now because of the new stuff that came out, but over the course of time, I was selling a lot of stuff just to make the deck, so yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. Cheofeng, your basic skill drain for the deck. And the bright side is, if he destroys a monster, you can basically special summon a Yang Zing equal to or less than that monster, so it's pretty good. And also, this and the rest of the other monsters as well, along with Yazi and Baxia, they're your basic game enders right there. But Cheofeng, a must. I could bump this up to 2 if I wanted, but like I said, space has been an issue in this deck. Now for the rest. 1 Beelze, self-explanatory, and plus, if you have Taotie, even better, because impervious to being controlled, and can't be destroyed. Worth jack shit. It's really worth it. For shits and giggles, with Spark Dragon, this card is hilarious in this deck. And with Beelze and Hot Red, even more hilarious. Speaking of which, Hot Red, very explosive, especially against Necros. Like, say if they wanted to go for the Unicorn play, and they had to spare one of their mirrors or whatever, you can just think, okay, do all that, and then the minute they get their stuff off, oh, I don't have any more, they don't have any more targets, and then just go off for a 3k beat stick to the face. But yes, Hot Red, really explosive in this deck, especially if you have Yang Zings on board. Downside is, they have to be face up in order for it to work. And he's the only one that can attack. For the rest, 1 Clearwing, 1 Moonlight, your basic impulse if your opponent special summons a 5 or higher. Black Rose, self-explanatory. Metaphys Horus for effect negation, depending on what you use to synchro summon it with. Goyo Guardian, your basic level 6 beat stick. 1 Armades. 1 Herald. I took 1 out to add a new tech choice, and that is finally to end the lineup. 1 Hastor. Basically, what he does, he's basically your snatch steal for the deck. So basically, when he leaves the field, it doesn't matter whether it's destroyed, like sent to the grave, tributed, whatever. He basically takes control of a monster on your field, and basically it can't attack or any of that mess. And plus, I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this card's actually pretty broken. So, yeah, you're gonna be taking control of that shit. But other than that, Hastor is by far one of the best tech choices to run. So, that's it for the Yang Zing deck. Hope you all enjoyed, and please leave a like and favorite if you want to see more. I may do an update on this probably a couple of days from now, whenever I get the chance to get the Trishula this week. But overall, the deck is working out just fine. So until next time, hope you all enjoyed this vid, and I'm signing out.